Step into the ladies' room with Clarissa.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Ladies Room Talk Show. I'm Clarissa Kenty, your Kingdom Concierge. Happy Monday, everyone. Listen, it's a great day. I've had a wonderful time, and those of you who live in the Birmingham area, the day was beautiful. I didn't get to really spend a lot of time because I was in the studio most of the time today, but the time that I did have a chance to kind of get out and just really enjoy the weather. It was perfect. And sometimes it seems to be a little bit colder inside your office as opposed to outside. But let me tell you, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. It was great. And I pray that we have many more of those days this week. But happy Monday to all of you. I hope that you all had a great Monday. And it wasn't your typical Mondays. That it was really a great day. I'm learning to, when you get up in the morning, seize your day. Wake up. Thank God for waking you up in the morning. Thank him for blessing you with yet another day to be alive. And just, seize your day. Tell God what you desire in this day, because he is faithful and just to give us the desires of our heart. So ask him, tell him what you want, and let him go ahead and do what he knows he can do. And that's grant you the desires and the needs, the wants, and the desires of your heart. Big shout out to Wandrea Gilmore from last week. Guys, listen, she's an influencer. She's a model for Ashley Stewart, which is a national clothing store for women. And she really did a great job. If you missed her on last week, go back and check her out. She's a beautiful soul. She has her own store that you can go on and make some purchases on some things. She has some great sales that's coming up, guys. She just talked about that. So she has some great sales on clothes, accessories. She has some really good deals on accessories. So go out there, check out her boutique. If you missed her, go back to the Ladies Room Talk Show. Check out our last live inside the Ladies Room, and it'll give you all the information that you need about Wandrea. Also, a couple of things we have coming up. Guys, listen, this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is Soul Food at Encore Theater. Yes, I will be appearing in it yet again. We did it last year and it was a hit. So I'm looking forward to appearing in it again. And I will be your favorite doctor, Dr. Casey, in the building, dropping some gems on the stage, and it's going to be great. The storyline, the plot, guys, is so, so good. And what I like about Soul Food is that it deals with everyday issues, everyday family issues and kick-ups and generational issues that are taking place. Is so relevant, and I believe that everyone will come away with something that will be life-changing in the play. So I'm very, very excited about that, and I will be playing Dr. Casey. So this opening night is Thursday, 7 o'clock p.m., Friday at 7. Then there are 2 shows on Saturday and 1 show on Sunday. And let me tell you, the Sunday show, from what I understand, only have 2 to 3 tickets left for that Sunday show. It's just about sold out. And I understand that we're very close to that to the other shows as well. 'Tis the season, guys. Everyone wants to hang out for a good Christmas play or a good Christmas movie. And Encore Theater is providing that. Big kudos to Mark Raby, who is the owner and director of Encore Theater, the only Black-owned theater in the state of Alabama. So let's go ahead and support our local talent and let's support our local businesses. Big kudos again to Mark Raby for putting this play on. If you need to go ahead and buy your tickets, go ahead and do it now. We do have a matinee show that will start at 3:30 on Saturday. That's the only matinee show that will be provided during this run of the play. So if you want to go to an earlier show, maybe around 3:30 or so, go to that Saturday show. Do not wait until the day of the show and buy your tickets at the theater. Can you do that? Yes. But what I'm seeing is happening is that these tickets are selling out. And if you wait until the last minute, you're going to run the risk of not being able to get it. If you show up, then the tickets are sold out. And then it's kind of a moot point. So go ahead online and get those tickets now so you'll have them the day of the show. Okay, so the only matinee will be on Saturday. That's 3:30. The other shows will start around 7 o'clock. Our house will open at 6. And so, you know, that great lemonade they have at Encore Theater, which I get a flavor every time I go to rehearsal and every show. I love it. Great stuff. And so they have great popcorn. So Encore is always known for their best popcorn in town. So be sure to grab some friends, guys. You know, we always love when you come and support us. And so be sure to do that. People have been asking about the show. They're wanting to come, and we're looking forward to you coming and supporting. It's going to be a great show. Also going to let you know, guys, and remember, I do something called Goal Diggers. Goal Diggers is an accountability and a goal setting program that I do every single year. It's accountability. It's helping you set your goals for the year. And then I monitor your progress throughout the year every quarter. Midstream, we go back to the table again, see what you're putting your energies to, what you're not putting your energies to, do a little bit of adjustment, jump back on track so that you can end the year well. And what my goal diggers are doing every year is that they're completing their goals at 90% plus meeting their goals every single year. How many of you can say that? A lot of us get started really good in January, but by March, we've fallen off. That's not what happens with the goal diggers. We stay the course. We stay to it. I meet with every goal digger for 30 minutes every single month for the entire year, which has that accountability that's really going to help you stay on course. And I'm very excited about doing a collaboration with Moxie, which is a local company here for small businesses. And so we're doing a partnership with them. They're hiring me to come in and do a really good presentation to their membership about goal diggers. So guys, it's going to be really a great event. Next month will be the date that we'll go in and do a 4-hour mastermind workshop where we will go in and set those goals and write up the whole year, section them off quarter by quarter. We'll use the SMART goals and the SWOT analysis. We'll implement those procedures into setting those goals, and boom, we'll write off just like that. So I'm so excited. You will be too, and you'll be glad that you did. Tonight, we have a great guest. His first time in the Ladiez Room talk show, and he is a screenwriter. He is a author. He's written a children's book, which is really cool. I love his art. I love his cover art. It's really neat. And so he's gonna come and talk to us today. But before I bring him on the show, I want you to see the trailer to his movie called Squatters. Take a look.
Every man's house is his safest refuge.
I told you all 2 weeks ago, no more parties. Oops, out of time. That's a wild boy right there.
Boy, have you lost your mind?
Sir, squatting is illegal. They're all here legally.
Every man's home is his castle.
You trying to kick us out in the cold? That's how you rolling.
Unless you have squatters.
Bumbleclad. Goats.
We ain't going nowhere. We got rights.
Are you deaf? Motherfucker.
All right, guys, want to bring to the Ladiez Room talk show no other than Quentin L.B. Smith.
Hey. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Hey, I'm so glad you're here. You have such a wonderful testimony, Q, and you really do. I love the book. I can't wait to read it. I know it's a children's book, but I can't wait to read the book and just really see the storyline. I love the way that title looks, and I love the way the cover looks on the book. Very, 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 very clever. I like that. And then Squatters, I'm going to play the trailer again before we end the show, but I wanted to play that trailer so that people can kind of get an idea of your work and what you do. So Q, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into writing movies, and how did you get into writing children's books?
Okay. First, I'd like to thank God for allowing me to be here today and express myself. I appreciate you and for bringing me on your platform, Ladiez Room. This is very dope. You're doing big things. Blessings and praise to you for that. Yeah, doing a great job. Great job. A little bit about myself. I'm from Orlando, Florida. Well, I was actually born in Tifton, Georgia, and we moved to Orlando when I was probably like 2 years old. So I was raised in Orlando, Central Florida area. Went to college. Was an avid basketball player, so went to college, junior college first, and then transferred to South Carolina. Learned, on a basketball scholarship. Made some bad decisions. Made some bad decisions, and in the process of making a bad decision, I ended up going to prison for 17 years. And I believe there's a scripture that I held on to while I was incarcerated. Ecclesiastes 4:14, God will make will bring you out of prison, right? And then I used to read the prayer of Jabez a lot. So I held on to those, and of course I'm not perfect, right? But I'm just trying to be a good steward. So God always gives you a gift. I always felt like basketball was my gift. So your gift will make a way for you. So I felt like basketball was my gift and was going to make a way for me. However, when I found myself incarcerated, I learned that I have the gift of writing. That's why I started writing movies. That I witnessed a situation when I was in prison with some of the inmates, and it was already getting into altercations and stuff, and they just happened to call for us to go to rec. And at this particular prison, they were doing a lot of fighting. They didn't mind fighting COs, so we stayed locked down a lot. However, when we came back from basketball, they had playing some basketball. They had Man on Fire for some reason. They played Man on Fire. Then they played the Tyler Perry movie, Medea, Tour de Medea, and you could hear a pin drop in the door. That's what kind of led me to start writing. I had to look at. I was like, if the TV entertainment could control the savage beast like that, I need to be a part of it. And it was then I started reaching out to my family members and my cousins and asking them to send me samples of script writing. But then I realized I really did have the gift, because I have that vision of being able to see what I need to put down and how I need to write it with no training. Like, it's not like I went to school for it, right? I mean, I went to school of hard knocks in a sense for it, so that's what it is. That's my pathway to writing.
Wow. What I like about it, Quentin, is the time when you started and how God revealed to you your gift. And you didn't allow your circumstances to hinder you from taking that gift that God revealed to you. And then you started doing what you needed to do to perfect that gift.
Right. Yeah.
And so there's so many people who have giftings and they have these things that God has given them, but they find every excuse as to why they can't get started, as to why they can't do it, as to why they can't up their game. Well, this happened, or I can't do this, or I can't do that. But Q, you didn't let that stop you. What you said was, okay, God has revealed the gift. So now I have to do is make this extra step, get with my family members who obviously believe in you. Okay. Definitely. Obviously believe in you. They were able to start helping you sharpen those tools, because you had to do the research to say, okay, this is what I believe God has called me to do. Now, this is what I need to do in order to implement it. Right. So Q, tell me and tell the listening audience, what gave you that wherewithal to push through those barriers? Because those are obviously could be barriers to hinder you. What gave you that push through to say, you know what, I got to do this no matter what?
I don't believe that God gave me the that gift and the wherewithal to understanding that I have a vision in writing and it'd be in vain. Right. So for me, it was like, okay, I need to really, I wrote the New York Film School. They sent me books, script books on how to write movies. Right.
What?
I don't know
Okay,
who that guy
so
was.
so cute. You got this free. They didn't charge you?
They didn't charge me. I just wrote them some letters and say, hey, listen, I'm incarcerated. I want to learn how to write movies. I don't know how to write movies. They sent me sample books that every screenwriter have. And then I was on the yard one day and a guy just came and handed me the Bible to screenwriting. And he said, man, my sister sent me this and I don't know why. And I was just looking at it. When I first went to prison, I was 3 months into my prison bed on a 17-year bed. And I met a guy named Pastor Snooks. And he said to me, God got a plan for you. The devil think he's about it. He didn't know me from a can of paint. He said, God got a plan for you. The devil think he's gonna intervene in what you had going. You was a leader, you was playing, you probably was doing a lot of things. And I was playing basketball. I thought I was going to the NBA, like most basketball players, right?
Right.
But that's what it, and I held on to that. And then like the very next day, I heard a song by Marvin Sapp, and I kept that particular tape with me from prison to prison. You're not supposed to have tapes. And it was This Is Not the Time, Not the Place. That very next day I heard that song and I was like, oh man, I wasn't even into the word, right? But I was being receptive to what I believe God had for me and was trying to deliver for me.
Right.
And I really thought I was gonna get out of prison on it, get my case overturned, get out of prison, because it's not like I hurt anybody, but it was just a bad decision that was made. And so at the end of the day, I just know God was working, God, I felt like Joseph. I was given favor, and it was all because I was writing these scripts and playing basketball. I had favor. Like,
so Q, are you saying that once you made that decision and you said yes to God, he was able to do the rest?
It definitely able to do the rest. Well, take me through a place that's violent, because that's what prison was where I was at. Take me to a place that was violent, almost like in the lion's den, and I didn't get scarred. I didn't get hurt. It's not a lot of people that can say that. I didn't have a lot of altercations. I had, because I played basketball, you get into some things, right? That's part of it. But I didn't have like these life or death altercations, and people like me. I was in a whole nother state. I was like 8-9 hours away from Florida, so, and I'm an honorary South Carolinian at this point, so
let me ask you the Q, because I'm from South Carolina. Okay, so what part of South Carolina did you live in?
I went to college at Atlanta University in Greenwood, South Carolina.
Yeah, my brother had a church there in Greenwood.
Okay,
we would go. It was called New Covenant in Greenwood.
I may know it. As said, I may know.
Yep. So he had it a while back, and but I'm from Spartanburg.
Okay. So this is good. This is good.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna tell you why. Because the reason the book. Let's talk about the book, right? Yeah. Adaleana and the Mute is written. It's on all platforms: Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Ingram Sparks. It's on all the platforms, right?
Right.
When you look at the cover, you see an older guy, a guy back there with a beard. Now you can go on AdaleanaandtheMute.com. You'll see the cover. You can go on my webpage.
And what I'm going to do, Q, while you're talking, I'm going to pull you to the front, and I'm going to go and find the cover of that book so people can see it while you're talking. Okay.
Okay. AdaleanaandtheMute.com.
All right.
All right. So. And you can go on pen-to-pen-production.org and see my other webpage for my podcast as well. Anyway, since you're from Spartanburg, when you look at the guy in the back, and this is not me picking at anybody with any disabilities or anything. This book is an inclusive book. It's a book of triumph, and I'm only saying that because I had a beta reader that read the book, and she was like, "Oh no, I don't like it because you have disabled people in your book." And I said, "Yeah, I wanted to give them a voice of a voice of strength and triumph and conquering. You know, he's a pseudo king, but he's a king of the forest people. However, the guy with the leg, since you're from Spartanburg, I was paying homage to Mr. Atchison. And I don't know if you should know Mr. and Miss Atchison. They own the bus line. I think Charles owned the bus line, and Mr. Atchison that I know personally, that had the one, the lower part of his leg that was missing. He had the construction company that he was doing the renovations and had the contract with the Carolina Panthers. And while Mr. Atchison could not read or write, his mathematical skills was impeccable. And I used to be around Mr. Atchison and be like in awe sometime and looking at how what this guy had built for someone that couldn't read or write. And I look at some of the older guys, man, and I really be like amazed at what they were able to accomplish. I could bring up a Mr. Bill, or how he was able to accomplish obtaining a lot of land. Do you know Mr. Atchison?
I sure do.
Do you know Miss Atchison?
Yes.
Teacher.
Well, let me tell you, Q. So my dad, when he retired, he, decided he wanted to do something else as well. My dad used to work with Clemson University as a Clemson extension agent. Mm-hmm. And so what he decided to do is that he wanted to drive buses. So he was one of the lead bus drivers for Atchison.
Right.
And so when my father passed away, they came to the house and to share their condolences when he passed away. I've been knowing them ever since I was little.
Right.
Little. So yes, a lot of people know the Atchisons are just great people and a great family. They really have set a tone and a sense of success in the Spartanburg and Greenville area, because Atchison's a bus, they were the go-to line of charter buses back in the day. They were the go-to. And so, and I don't know now because I haven't been, back home to live in years. I moved to Birmingham in 1990. Okay. But yeah, so yeah, when you said Atchison, I'm like, wait a minute, I know them. But yeah, very good friends with my dad. Yeah,
Miss Atchison, she's the one that sent me the book, The Prayer of Jabez. I locked in on it. I locked in that little book and I prayed that prayer. And I thank God for blessing me and protecting me and keeping my family. I was locked in. Yeah, it was a short prayer, but
it was effective.
Exactly.
It's effective. So guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this book to the forefront here. We're still going to be in the background and we can talk a little bit. So, but Q, let's talk about the book there, and go ahead and share that with them a little bit about the book. Again, you talked about, is that Mr. Atchison there in the book?
The leg, because I knew that I don't know if a lot of people knew that he had a lower missing part of his leg. And I talked to his granddaughter about it. And I just was paying homage when I was in prison writing this. So I wrote, the book is an extension of the movie that I've written. So I have 10 movies that I wrote in prison, all of them ready to go. They locked and loaded, right? But this is Adaleana and the movie technically. But because I don't have $50 million to make the movie, right?
Right.
I said, you know what? Let me put this book out. It's based off the movie, and it gets some traction. You never know who may come along and say, hey, let's make that movie, man. People loving it, So that was the objective. So the mute, he has Wardenberg disease, where his eyes are blue, and he had blotches on his skin. But while he's a mute, he's clever and he's witty and he's smart, and because he's a save. He helps save people. So the mute is important in itself. So Yeah, that's what it is. Princess Adaleana is who she is. It's the backdrop of the book is based out of Ethiopia, Eritrea. So that's an Ethiopian Eritrean princess.
Wow. The cover itself has a story within a story. And that's something I think that's really good, because when you look at it, you're thinking, wow, okay, this is such a very distinct cover. I wonder what the background is about. It makes you want to read the book. When you look at books like that, when it has that medieval look, and when you see African Americans who have been embedded into that medieval look, it's odd, it's different, it's not common. And so when you see that, you're like, okay, I got to read this book, because we don't. No, that's not us. And so when you see that, and now we're hearing, well, hey, this is the Black guy that has the blue eyes. Why does he have blue eyes? Because he has this and this, and so he's mute. This is why. This is what's going on. Okay, what's the deal with the dude with the peg leg there? Oh, well, okay, I'm glad you asked. This is what this is going on. So you create such an amazing interest for people to want to pick that book up and say, okay, I'm going to read this book. So Q, would you say that, what age group would you say would be the best age group to read this book?
Oh, tweens, middle schoolers up to 17, 18. And that's my target audience.
Okay.
I'm having it read to a sixth grade class right now. The teacher's putting it up, and she said they're loving it. They're loving it. They're seeing these characters, because there's a illustration per chapter.
Okay.
And all the illustrations are in depth. If you go to Adaleana and the Mute.com, you will see 3 of the illustrations. You'll see the front cover, and you'll see 2 of the illustrations, and they're in depth. I mean, because I was trying to hold on to Ethiopia and Eritrea, its culture, although I'm not from there. But we have so many princesses and characters from Hawaii, Egypt. We already have these stories.
Right.
They never talk about Ethiopia, and they always try to depict it into somewhat of a bad light, right? But that's a real castle that's in Ethiopia that you're looking at. I'm talking about that's standing to this day.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
They have an in-ground church that's in the ground in Ethiopia that people visit and frequent every year. But we don't hear those stories. So here in Atlanta, they have a large Ethiopian population. So what I do is I go over there, and I get a lot of pointers. I let them look at it and tell me what I need to take out.
Okay.
Yeah. First, I had a certain sect, the Torah, which is Geese is like the oldest language used.
Okay.
I got that in the book. I have and so I had to take the Torah out and use the Amar. I don't speak Ethiopian or Eritrean, right?
Right.
I know to go around and try to get as much knowledge from, and I'm paying homage to the Ethiopian community center here in Atlanta, and hopefully I can get up to Silver Spring, Maryland, and I just see so much coming out of it. I want the people to purchase the book so it could become this animated movie that I see that I've already written.
Okay.
Uplifting the people, we're seeing ourselves on these screens in
right.
an animated form. That's the objective, part of the objective. Let me say that.
I like the fact that you wrote the book the way you did, and that you did it for the African American community, because you and I both know, and you seem like you're a research guy. You realize that there is a problem, and I think it's just across the board, but there is a very big problem with literacy in the African American community. And it's starting young, but we're starting to learn now that there are a lot of children in some of the underserved communities, Q, that cannot read in the 10th grade, 11th grade, yes. 12th grade. Yes. They simply cannot read, and they cannot comprehend. When you ask them to stand up and read, they can't really make the pronunciations or the enunciations to even sound out the words. And so a lot of people think, that's a thing in this day and age. They think if they're in their 80s or 90s that, they're couldn't read them because they had to work on the farm to make a living. But we're having these things now in the underserved communities with the African American and minority communities of literacy being a really big issue. And so, Q, what I like is that you have chosen to write a book that were characters that look like us.
Oh yeah.
You know, they look like us. And, you know, sometimes we'll see Shakespeare, we'll see all this other stuff, and these characters don't look like us.
Right.
Now, they did do a play where they had an African-American version, which I thought was really cool, and really caused a lot of African-American children to be more interested in Shakespeare because it was relevant. And so I believe that if we really get our children into books that are relevant to their culture, that they will enjoy reading more because it's relevant to them. You know, and I know this, Q, you write books. I've never written a children's book before. But when it comes to reading, comprehension is comprehension. Whether you're reading Shakespeare or you're reading a comic strip or whatever, comprehension, the techniques of comprehending something is the same. Doesn't matter what you're reading. Comprehension is comprehension. But what happens is that when our children are reading books that's not relevant to them and they cannot relate, it's hard for you to relate to something you can't comprehend. You see? And so if it's not relevant, I can't comprehend it because it doesn't relate to me. I don't know what some of these terms you use because we don't use that term in our culture. Right. And so when they see that, they're immediately turned off. They have no interest. And so I thank you for people like you, and I have a very good friend that writes children's books for a living. And I thank you guys for writing these books for our children so that they can read things that they really enjoy reading, that they can see characters that look like them, that look like us, and it piques their interest. You know, so for that, Q, thank you. I believe if you get these books more in the school system, it's going to help our children learn to comprehend and enjoy reading again. I once heard it said, if you want to keep anything from the African-American community, put it in a book. Right. And so that's a hard reality, but we have to get to a point, Q, to where we have to make reading sexy again. And that's for a lack of a better term, but we have to make it look good again. I mean, it's nice to have a book in your hand and to read it, or, you know, a lot of people do audio books now, and that's cool, but you still need to get something to where you can read with print, and then get your cellular devices and upload some PDF books and just really continue to educate ourselves on things, because it puts us in a different league when we read and we can comprehend. So, Q, I'm so excited about that. And as we have more people coming on, I definitely want to play your trailer one more time, and then we'll talk briefly about Squatters, okay? Because we just talked about your book. Okay. So I want to talk about Squatters briefly, guys. So listen, this, again, if you're just joining us here tonight, this is Quentin L.B. Smith, aka Q. That's what I'm calling him tonight. And so I want you guys to look at his trailer on his movie called Squatters. It's funny. I thought it was really funny, especially when I saw that goat pop in. I thought that was really funny. So, guys, I want you to check out this trailer, Squatters. That's his new movie that's out. And Q, we're going to talk briefly about how you came up with that concept and where you plan for that movie to go, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, guys, let's check out the trailer, Squatters.
Every man's house is his safest refuge.
I told you all 2 weeks ago, no more parties. Oops, out of time. That's a wild boy right there.
Boy, have you lost your mind?
Sir, squatting is illegal. They're all here legally.
Every man's home is his castle.
You trying to kick us out in the cold? That's how you rolling.
Unless you have squatters.
Bumbleclad. Goats!
We ain't going nowhere. We got rights.
Are you deaf? Motherfucker!
There it is, guys. Squatters. Quentin, tell us, how in the world did you come up with Squatters?
Okay, Squatters was really a challenge. I met a guy that didn't believe that I could write, right? And despite the fact that I had 10 scripts already written, but he was like, if you write something, we'll film it, but it needs to be short.
Okay.
COVID hit, so we, so we didn't film it. I ended up coming up with the money myself, and I had another investor, and I had to give credit to the cast too, right? Because they were great in helping me. I had to give credit to the girlfriend I had at the time that gave me the good chill mental space.
Okay.
Right. But it came extended from a situation at my house where I couldn't I wanted to get someone out my house and I couldn't get them out. And so I actually called the police. The police was like, listen, and I'm telling you verbatim how it really went to. Like, the police was like, you can't just kick anybody out your house. And I was like, no, they getting out of here. And the police was like, I said, listen, man, I just did 17 years. I don't need this kind of stuff. Yada, 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 right? I'm getting out of my house. It was like that, right? But so because I didn't need to get them out at the end of the day anyway, tell you the truth. But what it did, it fueled that. And I say, how can I make this a comedy? Because tragedy is comedy in some sense. In the writing world, that's what they say. Every tragedy is comedy. So I turned it in. I wrote that, and COVID hit, and we couldn't do it. Well, the guy backed out. I came up with the money, found me somebody else. I went exempt, saved the rest of the money, and I filmed it. And that was the first thing that I wrote and filmed of my own.
Mm-hmm.
So in hindsight, I could have did like probably 5 episodes if I really understood. I didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
So that's what it was. That's where Squatters came from. And it got recognized in Indie Fest for Best Short Film, which was first time doing something. Yeah, thank you. So I have that and 10 other scripts, like I say.
But Q, you know what I find to be so interesting? It's like it popped in your head. You were dealing with squatters for real. And then something in your head said, you know what? I need to do a short film on this. Yeah. And you did it. And here we are today. I mean, that was so fast, but yet it was so genius, in my opinion. Now, there are a lot of them. My son tells me all the time, he's like, Mom, your life is so interesting. You need to have a camera and just follow yourself around all day with the different things that you do because your life is so interesting. But in my mind, I would never think that. I just live my life. I don't think that my life is that interesting, But with you, you're like, okay, you take this issue, then you make it into a movie, and here we are. I think that is so cool how you were able to do that. And then you had no experience, probably no desire in even doing a movie, but then you were very resourceful in trying to figure it out. You knew that, hey, I want to do this. I'm going to find out how to do it. And you did it. Now, I did go in and read a few comments. I wanted to hurt some folks because, people are always going to have their own comments and that. And everyone is not going to be Team Q.
Right.
Everybody's going to be Team Q. So I want you, because some people would crumble and give up because of the naysayers, because of the negativity and the negative words that you hear from people when you're operating what you feel is your genius. So how did you, when you read the comments, how did you keep going and not crumble in the midst of that?
I've heard 2 people say this, and actually probably 3. One of them was Charles Barkley, one was Tyler Perry, and the other one was Spike Lee. 50% of the people gonna like you, 50% of the people gonna love you. And it's really that simple for me. I can't, like, I believe I have a vision. So I walk in that space of where I believe I have a vision. I'm not perfect in no way, shape, fashion, or form. I do have a vision though. And however small someone's vision may seem to someone else or not so good, I mean, people live their life and live their vision. So I really don't pay a lot of attention to what people say because I'm just going to keep plugging at. I believe God gave me a gift to write. Right. Squatters is not something that I just wrote that because it was something that was going on in my life. But it doesn't even compare to Bargain. It doesn't compare to Pearl. These are some great scripts that I've written. I've let other people read. It doesn't compare to Adaleana and the Mute. The Stella Award is about my mother's life. Wow. You know what I mean? So when you look at Squatters and you be like, or whatever, or yeah, but at the end of the day, I'm somebody that come out of a situation and trying to figure out how to make it and adjust to, from being gone a long time. So I don't really worry about what people say, tell you the truth. I just keep plugging at what I'm trying to do. I believe God, has given me grace, and I'm walking in that grace and trying to figure this beautiful world out, these opportunities, and meet all of these people. You go to my webpage, pen-to-pen-production.org, you're gonna see one of my testimonials at the point of faith. That's a book. That's another book that I started working on. You'll see the positive. You'll see the people I've met and try. All this started in a dark place, and so it's a vision, baby. That's where I'm at with it.
I love it, and you seem like you are, when you want to say head over heels about it, and that you're focused in what you're doing, and I like that because you are showing people. I hope I did that right. pen-to-pen-production.org.
Yes, that's the web page. See, the objective is this right here. The end goal is to be in a position where I'm making movies, have a book out. I also have pen-to-pen Intervision. That's my nonprofit, and the objective is to be able to get with the youth, teach them the things on the movie sets. I want to get with people to come out of prison so they can be mentors to the youth, talking about the best ways to try to do things in life, young men, young women, and bring them on the movie sets. When I was working on Black Lightning, I watched one of the producers, which was I can't think of his name right now, Mara Brock, husband, Salim. They brought these kids, man. It was a group of kids they brought on the set, Black kids. Let them walk through these sets and see this is a viable career. Right. A lot of them not exposed to it at 12 and 13 years old. And that's something I want to do. I want to do that with these kids and people coming out of prison. And I want to have them on my set, whether they just PAs or gaffers, rigging and grip, drive. I drive for the movie industry. That's my job. That's my everyday occupation, a truck driver for the movie industry. And
I want to tell you something, because see, the terms that you're spitting out right now, I'm very familiar with it. And so I said, "Oh, you know what he's talking about." I said, "Okay."
Yeah, rigging electric, like nothing worked. Lighting.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I was a mentor for a film camp this year. Mm-hmm. And so those were a lot of the things that we taught the kids how to do. Some of them held those very positions that you mentioned because we were training them how to do that. And so we went out to the community garden in Birmingham and did a documentary on that. We had 4 different groups, and each group did a different take of the documentary. So all of those titles and those positions were held by the students that you were talking about. Right. And when I tell you, just an amazing opportunity for young people to be able to see if this is something that they want to do. We taught them how to write storyboards and direct and produce, and all the things that you did with Squatters that you just learned on your own. Mm-hmm. They were able to come to a structured environment and try to see if this is something that they want to do, because this is the thing, Q. And I like what your mission is, because you're going to help a lot of people. We're moving into an era right now to where maybe everyone shouldn't go to a 4-year college because of where the industry is going. And so trade schools are very important. Learning how to do movie industry and production and film may require you to go to some form of a school, but it may not be a 4-year traditional school. And so I believe by you bringing this nonprofit into being and doing the things that you're going to be doing is that you're going to help young people identify what their natural gift is and pair that with a trade.
Right.
See, I believe that gone are the days where, our young people are going to be having jobs and working jobs that they hate. And they're just working these jobs to pay the bills, but they hate going every day. See, I grew up in that era of working a job. You hated the job, but it paid the bills. These kids not having that, Q. If they don't like the job, they leave.
Right.
They don't stay. They
Right.
leave. But it would be a great thing to be able to teach our young people, our young African-American children, to build businesses and to build strong economic community development in the African-American community or in the underserved communities. So we can take those dollars and continue to run the money within the community and let those dollars stay in the community for many, many months until it makes its way out. And so I believe that you will be a very pivotal key and part of that queue so that you can help our children be empowered by their natural gifting and desires and make a good, solid, honest living out of it. So
yes, ma'am.
Listen, you're not just writing squatters just for writing squatters, or even writing a book just to be writing it. You are utilizing your gifts so you can help and impart and empower to other people who God is called to do similar to the same thing. But you're helping show them that, hey, if I can do it, you can too.
Yes, ma'am.
You can too. So, Q, thank you so much for hanging out with me inside the ladies' room tonight. I actually kept you a little bit longer than anticipated, but it was such a good show, so I wanted to keep talking. But I tell you what I like to do is ask all of my listening audience to leave some type of message of hope, something that can encourage our listening audience to hang in there and keep doing it. But I want you to do something a little bit different. Q, it may not have anything to do with your book or even with your movie. But what I would like for you to do is speak to those who are newly released from incarceration. And what can you do to encourage them to stay the course and not become repeat offenders?
Oh,
that's what I want you to talk to them, because sometimes, depending on how long they've been there, they feel more comfortable going back because that's what they know.
Right. And it is a difficult transition, especially if you don't have family to help you out. And I was grateful that I had family members that was helping me out and in that process. So what I would say to them is, like, okay, when I went away, there was no cell phones, there was no Wi-Fi like that. You didn't just have laptops. So I had to get reacclimated with society in that sense. So that was kind of difficult in itself. But what I will say to them is, stick to, if you got a vision. If you don't have a vision, you got to find a decent job, right? And I don't know where you may be at in life, but Atlanta, for me, the Atlanta area and possibly Georgia was a good transition because it's kind of like inmate friendly in a sense. So I was able to get a good job. Everything that I did in prison, I ended up doing on the street, from running a cleaning company when I owned my own cleaning company to driving trucks. I studied it in prison, right? So I would say, set your goals high, but don't be deceived. Your vision is not everybody else's vision. Or your whatever you're trying to pursue is not everybody else's, it's yours. So while you think you're gonna have all of this help out here, people living their lives, and it's really what it is. They're living their life. You got to live your life now, and you got to be strong. Try not to get caught up in a lot of stuff. I've had my ups and downs out here, from financial situations to personal situations as well. So I say to people, just stay strong. Don't worry about what people say. Don't follow the Joneses. That's like I don't know. I spent $20,000 on squatters. I could have bought another car. I haven't made any money from squatters. That's what I tell people. Like, I have a podcast, Pen to Pen Podcast, where I interview people that have just gotten out of prison or have gotten out of prison and became successful in whatever field they're in. You can see that on YouTube and any other platform, Pen to Pen Podcast. Hey, everybody was getting out striving and going forward. stay strong, stay blessed, and know that you're gonna be blessed if you just stay up and and always be helpful to people if you can. That's my.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And the good thing, Q, about what you're saying is evident in the things that you've done thus far, the things that you've achieved in life. It's evident that you follow what you're preaching tonight. That's actually a staple of what you do and what you live by. So I want to thank you so much for your honesty. And I want to thank you for, let's see, we've had some statements out here tonight before we go. Let's see, just trusting God because as of someone who has been locked up and lost everything, God promised if you trust in him, he will give back double, and he has. Aim for the moon. If you hit the stars, then you're done. Yes, this is good. Really, Q, Preston would be a good person to have on your show. I plan to have him on mine here pretty soon. But he will be a good one. He said he's been, as his terms, locked up. Oh, excuse me. He said he's been locked up. So you definitely want to bring him on the show. He would be a good guest to have on the show. God has done some amazing and wonderful things for him during this transition in his life. And my family, he's good friends of ours. And we call him Uncle P. That's Uncle what the kids call him, Uncle P. So good people. So you definitely want to reach out to him at some point and have him on your show. I think it'll be good because of the nature of what your podcast is all about. Allison Sanders, the executive director for the Ladiez Room Talk Show. She's been chiming in here and there, and even those incarcerated in personal situations could use this. Yeah, because I know I'm gleaming from the nuggets he dropped tonight, Allison. So that is so true.
Allison is a blessing, right? Allison is a real blessing. I met Allison through Ron. Shout out to Ron. He contributed to Squatters. And so I met Allison through Ron, and she's a great blessing.
She is. Yeah, she is. I'm glad she got you on the show. This has been great. Robbie Beasley, Short.
Yeah. What's up? Mr. Short.
Yeah, so he has some good things to say about you tonight. And my son popped in, Matthew. He is a proud graduate of Tuskegee University. So he's a big supporter of the Ladiez Room Talk Show as well. So
that's what's up.
Just a few people that's chimed in and saying the good things about what you're doing. And I know, guys, listening, as you're listening here tonight, be sure to share this podcast on your platform. If you're listening to us through YouTube, go out here and reshare this because there are people out here who need to listen and hear what Q has to say. Great show. Go out there and check out Squatters. Where can we find Squatters? Where can we watch it?
You can find Squatters on my webpage, penandpenproduction.org. It's on there, and it's on YouTube as well.
Okay.
Everything I do is going to be on penandpenproduction.org. And like I say, Adaleanandthemute.com is his own webpage.
Right.
So I got a sequel to that, Adaleana and the Mute, as well. Once again, that's a movie too.
Okay.
So, yeah. Everything is going like it's supposed to be going. I have faith. Nelson Mandela. Tom Brokaw was talking to Nelson Mandela. He asked him, Nelson Mandela, if he had to do those 27 years again, would he?
Yes.
He said yes. He said, because if not, God would have never have put me in a position where I became black. South Africa got its first black president. My prayer is that I be able to say the same thing Nelson Mandela said in the end.
Right. That's right. Right. And the website is pen2penproduction.org, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. So, guys, go out to pen2penproduction.org. Check out Squatters, the movie. Check it out. Let's support him and really support him. There's some good comments out there for him, guys. And also be sure to check out the book. And I'll pull that book up again. I'm really interested in checking this book out. It just seems so interesting to me. And I want to be able to go ahead and order that book and get it in my repertoire of books.
$9.99 on the digital, the ebook $9.99, and the hardback $24. The paperback is $24.99. And I did a show, Miss Clarissa, in Bessemer as well. I worked on a show in Bessemer. I meant to tell you that. I came to Birmingham, worked on a show for about a month or so in Bessemer. the young lady I used to date, she's from Bessemer. It was crazy.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
So
It's a
I
small
know a little
world.
something about Birmingham.
I
I like the
see.
town.
Few connections.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good
Sounds
family, good
good.
families I met out there in Birmingham. Good people. And so, yeah, I used to come to Birmingham quite a bit.
Okay,
And I used to
well,
like
very
coming
good
down
then.
there.
Well, hopefully you can bring your book back here one day and do
Oh,
a book
definitely,
signing and get
definitely.
connected with some people here. So looking forward to it. I'm going to go to pen2penproduction.org and order my book so that I can have that in my crew here and check it out and read it. I'm looking forward to doing a good review on it. So again, Q, thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. I know that is time well spent, but I really appreciate it. And you know what? I'm going to give you a virtual key, so you're welcome to come back to the Ladies Room anytime you want.
Thank you.
New things you got coming up, come on back to the Ladies Room. Let's talk about it. Any books you have in the works, come back. Let's talk about it. But again, much success to you and your endeavors, and you go ahead and continue to take God with you. Let him lead you and let him guide you. And as long as you do that, only up from here.
Only up. Thank you for having me on the Ladies Room. I am so pleased. I'll make sure you get a book.
Oh, I got to get that book, Q.
I'm going to make sure you get a book. I will make sure you get a book. I promise you that.
All right. Sounds good. Again, thank you so much for hanging out with us. And guys, listen, thank you for coming out and supporting Q tonight. It was a great show. Be sure to share the live now. Take this live and share it with your network so more and more people can learn about Q, the Squatters, and his book. And also his amazing testimony, Life After Incarceration. Just really, really great. And then check him out on Pen to Pen podcast, right?
Pen to
Pen podcast. Check his podcast out too. I'm sure it's going to be great. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful and great week. Happy holiday to everyone. Remember, Encore Theater has soul food that will be this week starting Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I will be Dr. Casey, baby. I'm going to be in the building. So come out there and check us out. Okay. So we'll see you back here next week. Good night. Stay the course.
Step into the ladies' room with Clarissa.